And then we continued talking, and he said, "Just so you know, I've been separated from my wife for 7 years." And in my mind, I was thinking to myself, "So why are you telling me this?" And he was like, "She's a narcissist. We have one child together. The child stays with her. And
Mhm.
that's why I can't move the way I want to because she's very emotional." And then we continued talking, and he said,
Apparently, the Jeannie Mai story, RJ, it's taking weird turns.
"Yeah?
Taking weird turns. Apparently,
Hmm.
these are living. They are still living together while divorcing. It's like the same as the Shiver story, right?
I'm gonna call BS on all these things.
Who?
The divorce, the whole thing, man.
Oh, it's a cloud chase. They're not divorcing.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like the Kiki
Hmm.
Palmer and what's his face all over again, man.
Does Jeezy has a new album coming out? Love Story 2.0 or something
He
like
has
that?
a
I mean,
book, right? He has a book
does he
coming
have a
out.
book now?
I think he has a book coming out.
People do anything for cloud these days, man. I don't know.
It's a new thing, man. They probably have the same marketing marketing team behind them. Kiki Palmer and Jeezy does.
Same PR team.
Probably.
It's I don't know. This is people do anything for cloud these days, man.
No.
But if they are living together, I can understand why it's awkward. But I don't think he's gonna leave because, from what I understand, he bought a house and they went to live in that house. And right now, if he splits and starts living at another house, then the judge will say, "Ah, you're not living anymore, so you can give that away to her."
But didn't he put money of the money that they earn together
In a
in
house
the
what was his already,
house, which can
for
make the
renovation.
house become, yeah, which can lead to that house becoming a marital home, or at least marital property, instead of property before so
Oh,
it will
before they
transition.
come.
Even though Jeezy bought the house before they got married, and that house was protected by the prenup, well, she signed a prenup 1 day before, so even that's even that's
Bruh, I don't know. This is it's a a weird, really weird situation, right? First of all, if he obviously Jeezy isn't on social media because I think like 4 years ago, it was the Steven. What's the basketball player?
hawking.
No, no, not that one. Not that one. Not that. The gray guy,
Steven, is
Steven
it Jackson?
Jackson. Yes, yes. Where he basically told the story of the girl didn't want to sign
Prenup.
the prenup until like 5 minutes before they start.
And she
Uh,
was
the, the,
crying.
she was crying. She was refusing, and then when she wanted to sign it, he was like, "No, I'm not gonna. This is stopping right here because you're gonna use signing on the rest later on. I'm done." So that basically ended that story. He was smart.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jeezy didn't watch that video,
No.
but he let
Uh,
it go, and look at him now.
it's it's tough to say, but you need to be really real cold in things like this. Real
Business,
business, yeah.
business. I mean, at the end of the day, a marriage is a business. You're going. It's a contract. You
Mm,
both parties agree upon a certain way of performing the contract,
yeah. There
and then
are obligations.
there are
There are
obligations.
obligations and rights, yes. But it's
And then
like compared to like a civil law contract, it's family, it's not as, or at least I put it like this, there's more room to screw someone over if you have a if you're married, because in a contract, if we agree on a particular term or condition, and it's legal, then no one can tell us no, you can't do that, because we as two free thinking people willingly and out of our free will decided that we want to enter into an agreement based on these conditions.
Yeah.
But in marriage, it's like, yeah, but she signed the prenup. Yeah, but the prenup was signed one day before.
Or I mean, they can still contest even if she signed it way before that, right? Just like in
Dion's case,
Dion's case, when
Kevin.
you have Kevin Costner, where they contested in Kevin Costner's case, they contested that she didn't understand what was written down, and still she signed it. I mean, it's not only the one dating. It's just like you. I mean, people contest. I think you can contest a prenup maybe easier than a contract. And even if what they agreed upon doesn't make sense, they have agreed upon it. I mean, I mean, look at Tyrese. He's still crying. He's still crying about his prenup.
He's been
But
crying.
the
Yeah,
thing is this: so she signed the prenup, but she never said child support is not. She signed the prenup,
yeah,
but she was maybe she backdoored him. She said, "Oh, I'm not gonna. I'm signing the prenup. Don't worry about that." And backdoored him with the child support.
yeah. I had a I encountered someone a couple of days ago.
Mm,
Oh wait, yeah, a couple of days ago, and he came to the house to. He's like a handyman,
mm,
so he came to the house to fix some stuff, and we started talking. But he's a very deep talker, so he can talk about. He's a very intellectual person.
well, first.
Yes, and so we started talking, and I asked him, okay, how much for the job? He gave me a price. It's like, okay, negotiate the price. And yeah, we agreed to an amount. We were like, I was like, okay, let's proceed. And then we continued talking, and he said, hey, just so you know, I I've been separated from my wife for 7 years, but I'm not divorced yet officially. I was like, okay. And in my mind, I was thinking to myself, so why are you telling me this? And he was like, no. So this, my wife, the woman is narcissist. She, um, she's a narcissist. We have one child together. It's my only child that I have. So I want to be there, or at least not. I want to be there, but the child stays with her, and
Mhm.
that's why I can't move the way I want to because I need to. She's very emotional. She can manipulate my child against me, etc., etc. The child is 19. I was like, okay, okay. I was still like, why are you telling me this?
19 months or
19 years.
Okay.
But the man, I said, okay. So I asked him, why is this relevant? And he said, well, the thing is, I don't have a car, and the woman that she
Is
hasn't
it
been living
strange?
with for 7 years.
A strange wife?
Yeah. Well, not really because they're not divorced. So actually, on paper, they're still
Mm.
husband and wife. So I'll just say the woman. He, so when I say wife, it might Well, I'll just call her wife, but just remember that they're not living together. So on paper,
Mm.
they're wife. So he said, yeah, my wife. I have to borrow my wife's car, or sometimes my wife brings me to where I need to go. So I always need to tell her as well how much I charged.
Huh? Okay.
My wife knows all my clients. My wife knows all my jobs because I tell her, and I tell her as well what I earn.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, But I was still like, why are you telling me this? It's still there's. And
I
then he's
already know where he's going, but continue.
well, you know where he's going, so I'll tell you, and then you have to tell me whether or not you knew. This is what you expected. So then why are you telling me this? He said, yeah, because he's very emotional, and don't be surprised if she calls you up or comes by the house to ask you how much he charged me. I was like, okay, so that's why. That's the reason for him telling me about his private life. I don't think you thought that was the reason.
Well, I had two actually.
He had two options. What were they?
First one was that he was gonna ask somebody below the table,
Yeah.
and the second one, well, technically that was also part of that. So he's gonna ask you. She's gonna come to you and ask you how much you gave him, followed by, I expect a certain amount under the table. So you're gonna tell her this amount instead of this amount.
Well, yeah. So basically, so you have it right. That's the reason. Right? But he was like, so I'm just gonna tell her some price, but if she asks you, just tell her it's an agreement you and I have with each other. I was like, okay, yeah, that's of course that's what I will say. But yeah,
The guy opened the door, so it's a one-way street. There's not a lot of options going. You start telling me that the wife, I don't care about your wife, but as soon as you start telling me that she knows how much you're earning, I mean, people have weird arrangements, right?
yeah,
You understand as well. People let others control their lives, and at the end of the day, you gotta ask yourself, is it worth it? I mean, he's living constantly under duress, I think.